All right, MyMMAnews.com, talking with the All-American Brian Stann. Right off the bat, Brian, this weekend is Memorial Day, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of your military career. Everybody knows you are a Marine, but from one Marine to another, I want to thank you for your service to your country and wish you and your family a happy Memorial Day. Semper Fi.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. Obviously, emotional weekend for all that has served, but, for those out there, that really want to make the most of this weekend, I always tell people, go ahead and find the profile of a veteran who's given their life for this country, and go ahead and read about that, think about that for a minute, while you drink a beer or while you enjoy some time with your family this weekend, and just so you can remember what it's all about.
Start off by talking about a program that I know is very near and dear to your heart, Hire Heroes. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what Hire Heroes does and why it's important?
Sure. It's a nonprofit organization that I currently run. We're 40 employees strong, 6 locations nationwide, and we help veterans and spouses find employment. We do that through a personalized service. Each veteran gets a customized plan of their employment. We also engage corporations to teach them about the benefits of hiring veterans, try to fill their positions with the veterans that we assist. And we're the most successful in the country in doing so right now. We currently average over 18 veterans a week that get jobs with our assistance.
That's very cool. I met you actually a few years ago, and I had a chance to interview you. You were doing an autograph signing with MMA Signatures, and they're owned by some mutual friends, AJ and Michelle Hiller. I also met your sister, Allie, there, and we're going to talk about her here in just a minute because we're actually in the process of writing an article about her. But I want to give a shameless plug to MMASignaturesUSA.com. Just like you have the Hire Heroes, I run the Marines Helping Marines fishing tournament. It's an annual bass fishing tournament for severely wounded warriors, and last weekend we just held our 6th annual event, and I was talking with AJ and Michelle at MMA Signatures, and they're going to donate 50 8x10 8x10-inch photographs that you, Brian Stann, had personally autographed. So we're going to use those to raise some money to get some more wounded warriors to next year's 7th annual event, which is going to be held Armed Forces Day, May 16th in 2015. So I just want to thank you and MMA Signatures for that.
Oh, hey, my pleasure, man. And yeah, AJ and Michelle are class acts. They're fantastic people, and they're the type of people whenever you need them, they're always there. They're hardworking, just fantastic people to have in your corner.
Yeah, I agree. I've known them for a couple of years now. So as I said, we had a chance to interview your sister, Allie, and for those who don't know, she recently started competing in bodybuilding. Now, Allie hasn't always trained for this. It's kind of a new thing for her. She's done it, 1 or 2 years she's into the sport. But she told us that part of the motivation that started her doing something competitive was in part due to hearing about some of the struggles that you endured and led to you receiving the Silver Star. She said that after learning about your challenges, she wanted to challenge herself. And this is an actual quote from her. She said, "I wanted to see if we were made from the same stuff. I wanted to test our genes." So she ended up dieting and losing some weight, and now is competing this weekend in a competition. How does that make you feel as her brother to learn that your sister looks up to you that much, and that you've made a big impact on her, that she's made a severe life change and is more than 100% focused on challenging herself?
Well, obviously I'm certainly I'm flattered that she would look towards those events to do that. I mean, she's always had that in her. When my sister puts her mind to something, part of the difficult part for her is to turn it off. She decided to go back to school when she was in college, and instead of going and just getting her degree, she had to get 3. She had a triple major. And then I think she went back to school after that. That's if she decides to do something, she's going to do it 100%. There's no other option for it. I remember last year, I flew in and I went to see her first competition. And I hadn't seen her. I live in Atlanta. She lives in Pennsylvania. And I don't really look at Facebook. I post things all the time, but I'll post it usually to Twitter, and then it posts it to all the other social medias out there. And so I hadn't seen any update pictures. I didn't realize, the kind of condition she got in. And she looked phenomenal. I mean, she looked like a different person. And the discipline it takes, I get it. We would diet for 8 to 9 weeks to prepare for a fight, and it's brutal. The kind of dieting she's doing, though, you're almost eating the same foods every single day. It's tough. It is not easy. You get miserable, you get cranky. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And it sounds crazy to people who maybe don't understand it, but the real deal here is it's not just for a bodybuilding competition. What my sister's done is she's changed the way she lives. She's made some decisions on who she wants to be as a woman and what she wants to do going further and going forward. And that discipline that she's been displaying in physical fitness is bleeding over into all the other aspects of her life. She's gotten fed up with some of the things she's been doing and some of the negative people that may be around her, and she's made the decision that she only wants to be surrounded by positive people and positive things, which is not an easy thing to do. It sounds simple, but when you look at it, if everybody takes perspective and looks at their own life, people don't always do that. And so I'm real proud of her. She's come a long way, and she's inspired a lot of people in our own family to really do some self-reflection, look at their own physical fitness and health. And so many family members are now losing weight. They're watching what they eat. They're living a healthier lifestyle, which is really so important. People don't realize how much more they can perform, how much more productive they can be, both in their professional life and in their personal life. It takes energy to be a mom, to be a friend, to be a girlfriend, a boyfriend. And when you take care of yourself, you can give more energy to all the things you care about in your life.
Yeah. She told us, she said, Brian's the jarhead, I'm the meathead. Were you two always competitive growing up?
Not really. There was a pretty big age gap, and so when she was a senior in high school, I was in 8th grade. So we never went to the same school together, except for 1st and 2nd grade, and she was in 7th and 8th grade at the time. Or she was much older than me at the time when I was in the same school as her. And so, it wasn't extremely competitive at the time just because she was so much older. She was doing things that were, on a completely different level. And when I had some success athletically in high school, she was already in college at the time. So I think the competitiveness came more when I was at the Naval Academy and she decided to go back to school and triple major. And I think, it's come out there, but, we don't get overly competitive with one another. We'll certainly tease each other nonstop like any brother and sister will.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to switch it up here a bit. You've had one heck of a career, one that most people can only dream about. You were a Marine Corps captain, earned the Silver Star. You held the WEC light heavyweight championship, moved on to the UFC where you became one of the biggest stars. Then you retired and you go on to commentating for college football and for the UFC. But I have to ask, one thing we never see on your resume is professional jeans model. We have solid evidence that both you and Tim Kennedy served as jean models for Ranger Up. Tell us a little bit about that.
I've been fortunate, through my fighting career. I've had the opportunity to be a part of some endorsement deals, and most of them are pretty cut and dry. Diet, get in great shape, do a photo shoot, and wear our logo in the octagon or do a commercial for us. The guys at Ranger Up are brilliant, but they're also goofy. And so they took me way out of my element where, I'm traditionally a very serious person. And they wrote these scripts for a series of commercials to endorse their product and most mainly their jeans. And it was a lot of fun. Over the course of 2 days, we shot 5 or 6 commercials, here in Atlanta, and I had a lot of fun. And it was really cool. And, they help people like me take themselves less serious, but at the same time, they use their massive following to shed light on really important issues, you know, both in our country and in the veteran world. So it was a lot of fun, and I certainly get teased all the time about some of those commercials. People just bring them up, pop them out of nowhere on me.
Speaking of teased, I gotta ask, you have a couple tattoos, but one that people always seem to wonder about is the one that is on your back. It looks like the Slipknot tattoo. Is that a Slipknot tattoo? Are you a fan of Slipknot?
You know, I got that when I was a freshman at the Naval Academy in Newport, Rhode Island. We were on what we call our summer cruise, where you go on a ship for a month. We don't get summer breaks like your standard college. So anyways, you know, I had seen that S somewhere, and so I got it for my last name. But I actually do listen to Slipknot, and so when I realized that that's, you know, shit, I got it from a Slipknot tattoo or a T-shirt or something. That's where I saw it originally. You know, the last thing I wanted to do was mimic something like that. Now, I'm a Slipknot fan, but that's not why I got it. I got it for my last name. Yeah. So I have not had the time to update the ink on my body, and so that's it's on the to-do list. We'll put it that way.
I figured that was part of the reason. Last year you walked away from fighting in the UFC. You left on your own accord. You've gone on record several times stating why, so I'm not going to really get into that. But is it definite? I mean, if an organization such as World Series of Fighting or Bellator comes knocking, does Brian Stann sign with them, or
no? I would not fight another organization by any means, and you know, it's not to discredit any of them, but they just wouldn't be able to afford me, to be quite honest with you. Mm-hmm. Look, and that's me ending my career coming off of you know, two tough losses, and so you know, I would have to say yes, unless, you know, an amazing opportunity came forth where you know, I could fight someone I always wanted to fight, and the UFC was willing to pay me more than they've ever paid me, and I do not see that ever happening, and so it's easy for me to say that no, I'm absolutely done. I'm still fully capable of doing it, but there are things that frustrated me to a point where it simply wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah. All right, I just have a couple more questions. Next month is Father's Day, so I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. I know you're always posting pictures of your daughters.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What is it like living in a house full of all that estrogen? And you have 3 daughters, right?
Yeah, I do. I do. I have 3 daughters and a very headstrong wife. So, you know, what it's like is, you know, imagine a life where you never win an argument, you're never right, and when you get home at night, you fold clothes and do dishes. No, it's fantastic. You know, there've been a lot of tough times in my life, but when I've got one of my girls in my arms and I look into their eyes, no matter what's going on, how much stress, how much stuff I've got to do, how crazy my schedule is, it all goes away. And they are by far the best part of my life.
Very cool. Obviously, this weekend, big UFC 173. Burrell versus Dillashaw. Can you tell us your opinion of how you think that's going to go down?
Yeah, you know, I think Henderson is going to win the fight. I think he will. I think he'll actually finish the fight, and that's no disrespect to TJ Dillashaw. I think TJ's a very, very good fighter. But you know, he's been knocked out before by John Dodson. I think Henderson can do the same. His takedown defense is just too good. Dillashaw's got to find a way to control Henderson, to wear him down with some wrestling, take some power off his punches, and slow him down. Every time Burrell fights, except for once, he's dictated the pace and the space. You know, you're talking about guys won 23 fights straight now. But when he fought Eddie Wineland, Eddie actually dictated the pace of that fight. Eddie was getting off first in all his combinations, and I felt that Eddie Wineland actually won the first round. Mm-hmm. Then in the second round, Henderson threw a spinning kick and hit Eddie right in the head, knocked him out. And so that's what you deal with when you got a guy like Henderson. You got a guy who's so good everywhere. He's never been taken down in the UFC, and it would be very difficult to bet against him in this fight. I just don't think TJ's got the skill set that's going to dethrone the champion.
I agree. What about the co-main event, Cormier versus Henderson?
I just trained with Daniel, I think 4 weeks ago, and we did several rounds sparring while we were doing a show out in Los Angeles together. And for a guy who's cutting down to 205 and a guy who gets criticized because he didn't make weight back, during the time of the Olympics, and people question his cardio, etc., I was really impressed at the pace he was working at. I mean, we were doing rounds, and he must have shot for, I think, 8 or 9 takedowns in one round on me. He's an extreme athlete. It's incredible how quick he is and how he moves for the size. Daniel is a small man. If you saw him stand next to me, you would say that I'm the bigger guy. I fight in the bigger weight class. And he was beating the heck out of some of the best heavyweights ever. Josh Barnett,
yeah,
Bigfoot Silva. I mean, he smashed those guys. Coming out of 205, he's going to be a force to reckon with. I think he beats Dan Henderson. However, Dan can knock anybody in the world out. I don't care what weight class you're in. If Dan hits you with that right hand, you're going out. I've seen Dan knock guys out in practice, as he's falling down throwing an uppercut. It's incredible. He throws that right hand with such reckless abandon. However, he showed in his last fight with Shogun, Dan's chin is starting to go. He was rocked hard. I called that fight against him and Shogun. He was rocked hard in that fight. So I put my money on Daniel Cormier. I wouldn't put a whole lot, because you just can't count Dan Henderson out of any fight, because he may be getting older, but power is the last thing to go.
Yeah. All right. I want to really thank you, Brian, for taking time out of your schedule to talk with MyMMAnews.com. Have a happy Memorial Day, and of course, happy Father's Day next month.
All right. Thanks, brother. Same to you, man. Semper Fi.
Thank you. Semper Fi.